sometimes you have a table that contains data that's a little more complex, or you're trying to compare two different things. In these cases, you might want to add a secondary axis. In this table here, we're seeing how many Hampshire students took classes at the other 4 colleges each year, how many 4 college students took classes here at Hampshire, and then just for fun, we're going to see if there's any correlation to the SAT scores of the incoming class for that year. So I'm going to start by selecting this table. I'm going to go up to Insert, and in the Chart section, let's do this as a line chart. And in this case, Excel did not do a very good job at guessing how we wanted this chart to look. The first thing we notice is that our horizontal axis doesn't have the years, it's got these numbers on it. So let's say we want to change that. I'm going to start by selecting the horizontal axis, and if I right-click it, I'm going to go to Select Data. We're going to tell it what we want it to use. And we're going to look over here in the horizontal axis labels area, because that's what we want to choose. And we're going to click this Edit button. And for axis label range, we're going to go back here to the table and select the years, because that's what we want it to use for the horizontal axis. And you'll see that it added them in here. We can click OK, and OK again. And so that's fixed. The next thing we notice is that it put the year in as a series value, which we don't need. So what we can do is I can click the year. I'll see that I just have the year series selected because it's got 4 little dots around it. I'm going to right-click. I can say Delete Series, and that'll remove that from the chart. And the last thing we notice is that this SAT verbal line, which is the purple one here, you can hardly see any changes in it because the scale of this information is so much smaller than the scale of the information it's being compared to. So in this case, we might want to take this SAT series and put it on a different axis with its own scale. So I'm going to select the SAT verbal axis here. I'm going to right-click it and say Format Data Series. And here under Series Options, I'm going to choose Secondary Axis. And you can already see that it took the SAT verbal, gave it a secondary axis over here. It kind of guessed at the axis range, and it did a good job. And if I close, we'll see that now we can really see the changes in these SAT scores. And interestingly enough, they do seem to have a relationship with how many students took classes at the 4 colleges those years.